Hey, welcome to Witching Hour Tarot. So happy to be here again. Last time I posted, I actually made two videos, one of which I chose not to put up. But in that intro of the video, I did talk about in detail this deck that I recently bought. I went on vacation for some time, about 10 days at the end of the year. And I found this, this deck within it was kind of funny. It was in like a Japan town store in San Francisco. And it's actually the Centennial Smith Waite deck. So the imagery of the deck is the same as the Rider Waite tarot deck, but it gives credit to the actual illustrator rather than the publisher, Rider. Rider is the publisher, and then Smith is the illustrator. I believe she was an African-American lady. First name I think is Patricia Smith. So, just really interesting that the Rider, publishing company chose to, make this Centennial deck in 2008 or 2009. The original Rider-Waite deck was published, I think, in 1909. But just like as a friendly reminder that there are a lot of illusions out there, a lot of people give the illusion of being something that they're not. I'm really happy that Patricia was finally able to get credit for her timeless illustrations on tarot cards. I can go into more detail of the imagery specifically, probably for hours. There's this really great book called 78 Degrees of Wisdom, and it kind of just goes over the imagery and the symbology in each particular image. So, with all that being said, there's always more to things than what it seems. And I would like to, shout out and honor the people who have been falsely credited or, ignored, or whatever, what have you, for the sake of other people trying to steal their shine. So I'm going to start with this deck and try to get a good reading, see what's going on in the collective. I shuffled the decks a few times before I started the video, so this is just additional. All right, what is the general energy for 2025? Oh yeah, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you have celebrated and wish light and blessings to your family, friends and family. May the new year be filled with great things for everyone that you know. Knight of Cups. So it's so funny. We've been seeing the Knight of Cups constantly in the readings that I've been doing. This is the knight in shiny armor who writes love letters to you, isn't really sure what to say, very fluid, water energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. I did, in one of my readings, I did compare him to a figure in Atonement, I think the protagonist in Atonement, the main male character. I forgot his name. I love the actor. I believe he's a Scottish-Irish actor. I think he's Scottish. But essentially, not really knowing what to say, being caught up in your emotions, but knowing that you do feel a certain way. So, I love when there's repetition because it really kind of just solidifies that there are these energies. To pull a single card in multiple readings, there's 78 decks or 78 cards in a deck. That's like 1 out of 78. Then to pull a combination, the math of it, I think you have to do 78 times 78 or whatever it might be. It's a very low probability, actually. So it's great to see that certain combinations continuously are pulled up. So let's see. Oh, the Seven of Swords. We saw this in one of our last readings as well. So this is I had said that the 7, 8, 9, and 10 is kind of like self-inflicted within the sword suit. Swords are air energy, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is kind of like lying, deceiving, conniving, pulling the wool over someone's eyes energy here. So maybe the Knight of Cups kind of underwent that, or they were within this energy and working within, player energy more or less. When you see this combination, someone who wants what they want when they want it, and they do everything they can, or all the tools that they have in their pocket to get that from people. But there's so much pain in folks who operate this way. And all you're really doing is creating more pain for other people. It's like really counterproductive to your spiritual awareness and spiritual transcendence. But I guess a lot of masculines, just like how feminines can be very like socially relationally manipulative, like they say that female sociopaths, rather than like go out and like blatantly commit violence, they instead do like they gossip and they sabotage people within relational group, within like social groups and relationships. So the masculine equivalent of that is still, sabotaging people, but being a little bit more overt about it, pretending you're the knight in shining armor, but actually, behind the mask, you see something like this. So coming to awareness that, it's not working to be in this energy, you're not attracting what you would like in your life. And the thing is, healthy people, they avoid people like this. People, quote, like, I hate this terminology, but like, quote, high value people, they avoid people like this because they see the warning signs. They see this person coming a mile from away. So then this person, they kind of just play on the, quote, low-hanging fruit or the vulnerable people in the world, and then wonder why they're not seeing the results they would like. Like, if I manipulate this person, if I get them to chase me, if I get them to do this for me, and then, if I get them upset, if I get them in their feelings, like, then like I am somehow worthy. But the people who act that way, who don't have those boundaries for themselves or for other people, where they're like, I'm not going to chase this person, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to, act out of character for this person. They have the boundaries in place to avoid situations like this. Healthy people, and so then this person, it's self-inflicted again. It's self-inflicted pain. This person is just like, how come I haven't met the person of my dreams yet? And it's like, well, sir, it's because you're acting like this. Like, people with self-confidence, people with self-worth, people with self-esteem won't put up with this kind of sneaky, conniving behavior. It's very obvious to me when someone's trying to, like, acting like that. And I personally refuse to be leveraged in such a way. Like, sometimes I kind of play with the situation, see what happens, but like, consciously, but I definitely have the detachment level to step back. And you should really try to, it's very important for women, I think, to maintain detachment when they're trying to meet someone, because men are out here unhealed masculinity, and it's very difficult for men to heal themselves or out here acting like this. So, Knight of Pentacles. So yeah, there's someone who is definitely in their knighthood, definitely growing up. This is Earth energy, so Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. A lot of people equate this to an offer, but you see how he's holding that one pentacle on horseback and walking towards whatever it might be. He's here to give to the situation. So maybe someone's also realizing like how self-sabotaging acting like this actually is. But and they want to actually give back to the situation. And experience their full knighthood. How you become an emperor or an empress is you have to not only upgrade from knighthood to kingship, you have to master all the suits. You have to master the cups energy, the pentacles energy, the wands energy, the sword energy. You have to be able to master that all in order to, you know, elevate to quote emperor status in the deck. We have yet to see the emperor come out, but you know, maybe we might in this particular reading. Knight of Swords. So here, you know, we have a lot of knights here out on the table. You know, so this is a scout. This is someone who, you know, it could be stalking energy. It could be watching, you know, logically kind of wait and see approach a little bit. I know he's charging ahead, but with the Seven of Swords here, I'm getting the vibe that it could be like, you know, someone's kind of in their reverse energy rather than their upright. But someone's definitely mastering their knighthood, you know, ready to be progressed to kingship. You know, again, this is air energy, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, you know, these are very logical, very practical, strong, you know, like charging ahead kind of vibe. But I do see this as also like a scout, more or less, like the person who you know, scouts out in battle, the person who scouts out the land before they actually, you know, go into war. So let's see what the overarching, what I like to call the major arcana of this reading is. The Hanged Man. So, you know, what this card like really reminds me of is like, it reminds me of Robin Hood. And, you know, Robin Hood like hanging out in the forest and like, you know, just kind of like finding ways to waste time and hanging upside down and like, you know, coming to the epiphany of like, oh, we should steal from the rich and give to the poor. It's ultimately like a change of perspective. It's signifies seeing things a different way. You know, so there's definitely growth here, you know, with all this knighthood, you know, and the Hanged Man. Someone's just starting to see things for the first time. I did reference this song in one of my other readings. I think it's the Black Crow. It's gonna drive me crazy, but it's like, I'm gonna also butcher it as I say. It's like, I'm seeing things for the first time. Like, it's such a beautiful song. You know, if I could post it any kind of way, I might later, but it's gorgeous. Let me actually see what the song is. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, you know, it totally is the Black Crows, and it's a really beautiful song. It's called Seeing Things. I would 100% recommend listening to it. So, you know, again, there's growth on the table. There's someone who's mastering their knighthood, ready to step up to emperor level. So let's see what's clarifying these cards. I'm gonna go into my Santa Muerta deck. I love the imagery of Day of the Dead, and you know, I actually went to Mexico City recently, and I learned this really great word where it's and it only happens in like, it doesn't happen in a lot of cultures, but in Mexican culture, there's this really great combination of Catholicism and then like ancient Mayan culture. I think the word is, it's like not synchronicity, it's like syncretism. Yeah, syncretism. So, you know, it's really interesting when you have these cultures that are not just, you know, unilateral in how they exist, and have been influenced by, you know, foreign bodies in one way or another. America, for example, is a very syncretist country, and Mexico is too. Most of the New World is. But I saw this Day of the Dead kind of like, what is it? Like, the decoration and just like the celebration in itself. It's like heavily Catholic, you know, like very heavily rooted in Catholicism and the cross and, you know, churches and like that kind of stuff. But then you have this amazing influence from Mayan, you know, ancient Mayan culture where you're honoring the spiritual. There's a very spiritual, like ghost like aspect to it. And you're leaving food out for your passed on ancestors to take, and I just really enjoyed that. So just, you know, a tangent of why I love this deck so much. But let's go into the Knight of Cups. What's clarifying the Knight of Cups? The Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups is a really interesting card. It's paradoxal. In the sense that, you know, you have these 8 cups, you've, you know, worked to get to that point where you're, you know, at quote almost happiness, you know, you're almost there, but then you kind of start looking over your shoulder or considering that these are the things that you really wanted. Like, you know, a great movie that encompasses the 8 of Cups is American Beauty with Kevin Spacey. And it's kind of just about the white picket fence lifestyle, and having, you know, everything that you could possibly want, and, you know, being able to also like keep up with the Joneses, and like, you know, kind of having the quote American dream, but then also like getting there and realizing that you're really not happy. You know, you're really not. Like, it's not really what you want from your life. Like, you want something more. You want something different. You know, Kevin Spacey, I think in that movie, like, you know, was working a very, like, a white-collar job as, like, an accountant or, you know, for an insurance company. I forgot exactly what it was. But then he kind of was just getting sick of being pushed around by his wife and his boss and, like, not having control over his life. And he ends up quitting and kind of, you know, setting boundaries with his wife. And, you know, there's a more tragic sense to that, but the general premise is like, you know, is thinking that you want something just because it fits the social narrative, just because, you know, it's what people tell you should want, and then when you actually have it, you do a double take and you realize that it's not what makes you happy. It's not your, you know, filled cup. So let's see what came out. The Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups, I think we had this in the last reading that I didn't post as well. It's about choices and illusion within those choices, but also in a positive aspect. Like, you know, for example, I applied to graduate school and I got into two of the best schools in the world for what I was trying to study, which was Chinese American relations. And I remember speaking to my cousin about it, and, you know, it was like between like this really awesome amazing school or this really awesome amazing school, and my cousin was like, well, you probably won't make the wrong choice. You know, like in retrospect, I don't really feel like I did make the wrong choice, but there were definitely choices there for me. So it's just like you have an abundance of choices, and, you know, it's kind of just like what's in alignment with you. But here with the Seven of Swords, there's definitely like, you know, leveraging those choices to your advantage with disregard for what the consequences are, disregard for, you know, what might happen if you make the wrong choice, for, you know, kind of just like being reckless about it, you know, reckless about your choices in love, your career, you know, just kind of doing something because like you're sick of being stuck in one spot and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to do this and see what happens. And like, you know, and if it was the wrong thing, you know, with the Seven of Swords, it's definitely this type of energy. With the wrong, like if you make the wrong choice because you're too caught up in like the wrong things, like, you know, leveraging everything to your advantage, you know, at the end of the day, the only person you have to blame for that is yourself. And this is someone, again, mastering their knighthood. ready to, if we get a Knight of Wands on the table, that's when I will say, like, you're kind of ready for, you've learned the lessons of knighthood and you're ready to, progress to the next level to become a king. The Six of Pentacles. So again, we've been seeing this a lot. This is a card of charity. You've worked really hard to have those Six Pentacles and like you're more or less ready to give back. Lately, like I've been thinking about just like my personal issues and like things that I've been through, and like at the end of the day, all I really want to do is like start volunteering like at the homeless shelter, or like like spend my time like in other ways and in positive other ways, and giving back to people who really need it, rather than be immersed in what I think is like more or less toxic or kind of BS or whatever. But here it's like, it's definitely, with the Knight of Pentacles, it's definitely encouraging you to give back to the situation. Stop being, stuck in this type of energy and just trying to leverage yourself to get what you want from people. Like start giving back, and then like that's when you manifest a whole new, level of awareness, and your relationships start improving. You start making more money. You start, getting healthier. You start, people are just really listening to you. They're respecting you more, and you get treated like that, with more, you're encouraged. Spirit's encouraging you to do this because they don't want you to be in this energy anymore. It doesn't benefit anyone. It doesn't benefit yourself, because all it does is victimize and manifest more pain for you and other people. So, give back to the situation, I have this really dear friend, and one time I did a tarot reading for them, and he was moving, starting a whole new life in Florida, and he was moving in with his family for something, and like I remember pulling these like really, intense, like the Ten of Swords and the Devil and the Tower, like these really intense cards, and he's like, are you sure that this is like, or like, he was telling me like, oh yeah, this is a safe situation, this is okay, like don't worry about this, like I think, like I don't know, and like lo and behold, like it was one of the most awful situations he's ever been through, and then we kind of talk about that tarot reading that I did for him 6 months prior, and I'm just like, and I remember talking to him, I'm just like, are you sure, like the cards here, like they're saying something else, like are you sure, so there's definitely, it's divination's such an interesting thing. It is what you make of it, if you choose to believe in it or not. But I do believe that we have certain energies out there for us, for sure. So, I was saying that like the Knight of Wands, I usually don't do this, but I'm just gonna do it. We've had 3 cards fall out for my last of for clarifying the Knight of Swords, and there is the Knight of Wands for us. So someone's definitely mastering their kingship. So there's more energy here. There's more stuff going on than like what meets the eye. We have the Three of Swords, which is like a heartbreak card, which is a betrayal card, and then we have the Five of Cups, which is being left out in the cold, which is being, like seeking charity and not receiving it, when needing help and not receiving it. So, someone's in the process of maturing through their knighthood, through their knightship, and realize that, they're if they didn't have this heartbreak and like, being left out in the cold along the way, they wouldn't be able to master these kinds of, life lessons. Like this isn't the way to go through life. So there's some remorse here for sure for their decisions and what they could have done to people. But like if you like, you can only blame yourself for staying stuck in low vibe energy. You know, make better decisions. Like everyone has choices in their lives. Everyone, you know, like, but regardless, like, you do have the tools. Like, the internet is accessible to, I think, like 3 billion, 4 billion people. Like, you know, like, like, find a therapist. Like, you know, talk to someone. You know, I don't care if your therapist, your priest, your teacher, your counselor, you know, your social worker. Like, talk to someone who's qualified to listen to you and who can help you through these issues that you have. You know, because it's also like, if you carry it around or make it your partner's responsibility, your friend's responsibility, like, it's not fair to them. You know, it's not fair to put it on people who aren't qualified to listen to your, the issues that you might have in your life. The Hermit. So yeah, someone's definitely kind of just recalling, resting, looking at what they've been doing, staying to themselves, like, not trying to, make waves, like, just kind of putting their head down in the sand and powering through it, because they do see what's going on here. They do see what has happened here, and all it really does is make them want to recoil from it, because they realize that there's karma in this situation as well. They're afraid of the karma that they're going to get. You can only, the cards here, it says it, give back to the situations that you think you want something and it's not actually what you want. You realize what you do want, but, you were maybe in this energy when you were pursuing it, I'm just going to get what I want. This is a social narrative. Like, I should just follow this line and, everything will be fine. And it's not fine. It's not fine. You're still miserable. You're still miserable. You're brokenhearted. You're left out in the cold. No one's helping you. So all you can really do is, kind of lick your wounds behind closed doors. So. And it's okay. I hate to be the person who says this, but it's okay. If I could give you a hug, I would. It's okay to fuck up like this. Some people do, they fuck up like this, but at least you have the remorse for it. Some people, they think they're always right about the situation, and that, think, they can't, that they don't even see it from someone else's perspective, or they don't even see it that, I had a friend say something really interesting to me. It's everyone has their own reality, but some people's realities are more accurate than others, which is true. You meet these people and they're in la la land, but then they're trying to fit their narrative to everyone else. And that's where judgment comes from. When you just think that things should exist in one way only, in reality, there are billions of different ways that things can exist. And tangent. I'm gonna take a little break. Don't you just love my, I'm a woman, but something about cute kawaii things just brings me next level. This just brings a smile to my face. Why would I not want this joy in my life? So, but some might think I'm I feel like I was I matured a little older with certain aspects and loving cutesy things. I haven't really grown out of that just yet. So, and I'm fine with that. This is my spirit baby, watching over. So watching you. And I love bringing that energy, the soft, genteel, I love it. I don't care what anyone thinks. So let's see. What's clarifying the Knight of Cups to the Eight of Cups? The Hierophant. So there's spiritual, we had the Hierophant show up in one of my other readings as well. Like the Hierophant is actually some say it's the most spiritual card in the deck. I compare the Hierophant to Da Vinci. I really like that comparison actually. He's definitely learned in classics classic theology, but there's also an evolution of it, like with his sacred geometry and, kind of just being totally out of the world for his time. In his paintings, they're all very theological. And what's that painting where Jesus is in the middle? The Last Supper, like that's painted by Da Vinci. So definitely a spiritual mastery here. And kind of realizing that, you have something to offer, and maybe you're offering it to the wrong situation, and being more spiritually evolved for that, but also like using your spiritual power, your spiritual knowledge to navigate all of this. Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords is, it's kind of like a widowed queen, a divorced queen, someone who's gone through suffering, and in their relationships they're close to intimate relationships, and now has this cold kind of cutting logical aspect to herself, but very, very intelligent, probably one of the smartest queens in the deck for sure, able to kind of see right through people, pierce right through people. So with the Seven of Cups and Seven of Swords, there's definitely been someone who's kind of inspired you to not live in these, like the state of illusion, in the state of like the pulling wool over someone's eyes, and the state of someone said no here. Someone said, no way, like I've suffered too much to deal with this kind of fuck shit here. It's not happening. So, but it's really good that you come across people like this, because they help you grow, even if you end up hating them in retrospect, you just kind of want to tear their hair out, like maybe like it doesn't matter, like it still helps you grow, and it's kind of interesting, like the situations that help us grow are kind of always on the boundary line, like they don't necessarily cross or not cross the boundary, but they're on the fence. It's like, it's really close to like being too far, but it's not. So someone here has corrected, a feminine power here has corrected what's going on. And more power to the feminine, because there's so many women who are just like, get stuck in the social narrative and, aspire for things just for the sake of aspiring for things, and, don't really see any meaning behind it besides that. And like, that's why, in the United States, at least, the divorce rate is 50%, because people are getting married for the wrong reasons, for money, for status, for, because, they're handsome, or, they want children, like, and then like you end up marrying kind of like an emotionally unavailable partner who doesn't actually want to be there, and you have kids with them, and you have to deal with the divorce after, and like, all of that kind of stuff. And there are always warning signs. Like, that's the thing, is that there's always those red flags. Like, I had a friend who, they were married for, I met him in my place of worship, but they were married for 20 years or so, and they divorced. And, and they divorced after 20 years, and she ended up like, there was an awful situation, an awful divorce, and like, and really unhealthy for the both of them. I think that he had tried to, put her in a mental institution because she was so off her rocker, but probably also like, provoked to that level of mental instability. But he had told me this story that when they were 6 months into dating 10 years ago, they were like on the FDR or something like that in New York. And she had, when they're stuck in traffic, she had gotten out of the car. And I'm like, and I said to him, I'm just like, you married this person? Like, you chose to marry this person? He's like, yeah, I wanted to get married. So like, it's just like wanting things for the wrong reason, you know, and getting stuck with someone, you know, sticking yourself to someone who's not good for you and you're not good for them. You know, like other choices could have been made here. And unfortunately, when things are really toxic, like, you know, you kind of just see it at surface level at first, but it manifests itself even more 10 years, 20 years down the line, and you just end up being miserable, you know? So like like I held my friend accountable. I'm just like, listen, like that's your fault. Like your decisions, your relationship, who you got with, like when you see the red flags, like that is your fault. That you are accountable. And so people aren't, you know, there are a few people who are willing to say stuff like that because, like, you know, you have to be considerate of their feelings, you have to do this and that, like, you know, at the same time, like it's true. You know, like there's red flags there, like, you know, maybe he didn't know any better, or like, you know, thought he could make it work, but like, you know, that's a red flag. Two of Wands. So Two of Wands is a card of negotiation. It's a card of, you know, putting everything out on the table. So things are out on the table now. Like you see things clearly with the Hangman and the Hermit, probably for the first time again, like the Black Crows reference. And you're spiritually aware of what's going on, and like, you know, the spiritual entities are in each of us. And you know, people delve in some things like black magic and casting spells. Like I personally would strongly advise against that. I do not mess with black magic. I don't mess with Ouija boards. I don't mess with spells. I don't mess with any kind of divination besides tarot reading, because it's such bad karma and you have no idea who's spiritually protected and who has, you know, literally thousands of people. Like we could be amongst Jesus Christ's reincarnation. You don't know if you attack Jesus Christ's reincarnation, if you send him a spell, if you send him black magic, like even like Mother Teresa, you know, even like, you know, who is that? She's a French young woman, Joan of Arc. Like if you attack, like, you know, someone who has made spiritual influences like Joan of Arc, or like, you know, there's an ancient Iranian princess, Enheduanna, you know, and she kind of encompasses the high priestess. Like if you're doing spell work on people like that, you know, again, connecting this with the Hierophant, like you need to be aware that people think that they can get away with stuff like this. People think that it's, you know, they have power to do stuff like that. And like, let me tell you, like people who do that, who like think that they're like in black magic or whatever, like those people are not anointed. You know, like those people are not like, you know, like it's really like the people who are anointed are people who respect, you know, reality, respect the spirit too much to even mess with that type of energy. You know, so there's coming to awareness here that like even if someone like, you know, thinks that they can like delve into that kind of spiritualism, you know, black magic kind of stuff, like it's ignorant. So everything's out on the table. It's all kind of like everything comes out in the wash. It's all kind of revealing itself. And oh, this came out backwards. The Five of Pentacles. I always talk about how I don't read I don't read in reverse, but the Five of Pentacles, like definitely being left out in the cold here. You know, definitely being you know, subjective to your own kind of misfortune and the things that you had done to, you know, meet that misfortune. But like, again, like that's how people learn. So let's see, the Hanged Man and the Hermit. The Sun. So this is a really great card to see as the last one that I pulled for this reading. And what this more or less means is like, it's the most positive card in the deck. It's masculine energy. It's like, you know, find the positivity in the situation, like find the silver lining in the situation. Find like, you know, like try to take it lightly, even if it's been like fuck shit the whole way. Like, try to see the positivity and how it's helped you grow and how it's helped you become a better person, and how, you know, you could, you know, meet someone that you finally, like, you resonate with because of it. So, great reading. Love, light, and blessings to you all.